I'm Mike Reisner, and welcome to episode 17 of the Socialized Medicine podcast. As always, first, a word from our sponsors. YouTube's algorithm treating you unfairly? Did a comment on YouTube make you cry? Looked for a link in the description and found nothing? Clickbait leaving you feeling deceived and betrayed? If any of these happen to you, then you need like and subscribe attorneys at law. They got their certification from watching YouTube videos, so they have an insider point of view. Use the code SOCIALIZEDMEDIACIN for 15% off a free consultation. Is that legit? Okay. Most mattresses are made of either synthetic foams or cheap aluminum springs. And most mattresses are too soft and don't provide enough support. Also, who needs a bed with a bunch of controls and computers to operate? And wouldn't it be great if your mattress had healing powers? At Nailed It, we offer a bed of nails which provides the perfect amount of support. Choose from 3 different metals: brass for enhanced courage and healing, copper for improved awareness and intuition, or the third option, silver, with its soothing and overall emotional well-being properties. Use the code SOCIALIZEDMEDIACIN and receive a free metal shavings pillow. And remember, when it comes to the best bed money can buy, we nailed it. And check out Tooth Fairy Dental Insurance. Mail us teeth and we'll give you the best rate in the industry. What kinds of teeth do you ask? You get better rates with human teeth, but all species are accepted. See our site for more info. Hey, whose watch is that? That ticking is way too loud. We're about to record. Thank you. Good evening. Most, if not all of us, are familiar with the pixelated blur that covers a person's face on an investigative news report to protect their identity. Well, get ready for this. That fog is a living creature. He's known in the media industry as the Blur, but his real name is Bokashi. He was named after the Japanese word bokashi, which means gradation or shading off. Known by very few until now, the Blur is ready to be in plain view and in focused detail. Thank you so much for your time and introducing yourself to the world, Mr. Kashi. How would you prefer to be called?
Please call me Bo, or It, for I have no gender. And thanks for the opportunity to talk about my history.
Can you tell us what you are?
I don't know. I've thought about what I am a lot. My best guess is I'm a sort of low-level sentient type of ball lightning, or a child of some unimaginable alien species, but that makes most people uneasy, so I'll go with the first one.
Have you met any other of your kind?
I have not.
Can you procreate asexually?
Not that I'm aware of.
We'll start from the beginning, shall we? So, Mr. Kashi, when and how were you born or created?
I'm told I was somehow created in a snowstorm incident at a local TV station, KNJP. There was a rare and intense thunder snowstorm. I appeared to my discoverer, Joe Takashi, in 1973. That is my first memory, is seeing him in the control room of the station. He was an assistant producer there. He somehow sensed I was sentient and started teaching me about human culture. He'd show me videos and patiently discussed what I was viewing. I started with kid shows and gradually moved on to more mature and sophisticated topics. Joe was a practicing Buddhist, and he impressed upon me the importance of compassion, mindfulness, and patience.
Did you live at the studio? Did anyone else discover you?
I lived in the studio for months, but I was careful not to be discovered. Early on, Joe had me stay in the closet when others were around because he didn't want me to spook them. Once I was able to talk and read, I voraciously watched every video I could while Joe was gone. I quickly realized I could travel through power lines, so I no longer needed to stay in the closet. I could stealthily travel on my own. I continued to learn more from clandestinely observing people all over the world as I traveled through power lines and fiber optics. I began to feel frustrated about being unable to participate in helping people's lives.
Mr. Kashi, how did your career in TV begin?
Joe brilliantly realized, given my pixelated-like appearance, I could provide a mosaic or filter to distort a person's identity. This was an improvement over the previous silhouette method, as it appeared a little more detailed and hopefully provided more sympathy from the viewer. The director at the station was skeptical at first until she saw the results. Joe gave me a purpose and helped assimilate me into human society. He gave me the ability to protect victims, whistleblowers, and crime witnesses. He was a sage of a person.
You quickly became a popular feature on news broadcasts all over the world.
Once other stations saw this new technique, they contacted KNJP to find out how they could do it too. After their shock of learning I was the technique, they signed an NDA, and I worked with them. I quickly started working all over North America, and then soon after that, the rest of the world.
Wait a minute. How are you able to do so much work in so many different places in such little time?
I know, it seems a bit Santa Claus, right? Over time I learned how to create extensions of myself.
Like clones?
Not quite. It's a bit science fiction, but I can absorb more particles of matter. I send out these extensions through the power grid, and like a supercomputer adding satellites, I can do multiple tasks simultaneously.
Do you get to know each person you work with?
As much or as little as they want, given our brief time together. They are always frightened upon first seeing me, but they sense I'm a peaceful being, and they're familiar with my work indirectly, especially now in the digital age.
It must get lonely with brief encounters with people in spite of the admirable work you do.
I do miss Joe. He was my mentor, inspiration, and friend. He gave me my foundation, and I tried to honor his teachings. He would always be there when I had difficult questions. Morality is my #1 priority.
Some of our viewers might find it shocking that a self-proclaimed moralist has been working for years in the Japanese porn industry. What do you have to say to that?
That was a very difficult moment in my life. Joe helped me enormously with that very difficult situation. But ultimately, I concluded that if the video makers were going to create it, I felt if I could just protect at least one child who might inadvertently be exposed to it, then it was worth it. I always believe that doing something is better than nothing. You know, like U.S. gun laws. Oh, wait.
One of the thousands of people Bo has helped is Truman Ticklesmith. He was a whistleblower in a corporate case. Tell me your experience with a blur.
What?
Sorry, with Bo.
Oh, Bo. Oh, sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I was a former line worker at Missile Whistle, the company that would take bits of dismantled missiles and turn them into whistles. I applied due to them having such a noble and moral corporate identity. And things were fine for a while. Until about a month in, I noticed a crate of boxes that were labeled radioactive in the corner of the warehouse. We like to joke around about it, but it seemed a bit too far for me. So then we heard that there was this local news report about coaches, lifeguards, and referees, reportedly all with intestinal problems and rapid hair loss. And I thought maybe there might be a connection between Missile Whistle and the sudden illnesses.
Did you or any of your coworkers get sick during that time?
Me and my buddy Roger didn't. We worked on the other side of the warehouse from the crate. We always hired terminally ill people to work on that side nearest to the crate. I thought that had to be a good thing for the community and the people in need, really. So when people died a lot, I figured it was just their time was up. But after seeing the news report, I thought that there had to be a connection. So after hours, I would go into the office, and I did find the evidence that proved that they were donating the tainted whistles to the unaware public. The executives knew that they couldn't give them to children due to their weak immune systems, but they believed that the small amount of radiation wouldn't affect adults. So then I went to my local news station to blow the whistle, expose the truth, and after talking with the producer, they agreed to air my story. A production assistant came in and informed me about Bo, which honestly sounded crazy, but he seemed so sincere that I listened intently. And then Bo came in and I just froze. I thought I was hallucinating, but he spoke to me and calmed me down, and I couldn't believe how quickly I accepted his existence. Weird, right? He heard my story and advised me on how I might answer some of the questions and what to expect in general. He also prepped me for what it would feel like when he covered my face, and he said, it was weird, "It will tingle a little bit like feathers on your skin. You will have a sudden urge to pee because of being in a state of peace, but you will quickly become accustomed to it, and then you can concentrate on your testimony." I laughed a little at that until the production assistant offered me a diaper.
What did it feel like when Bo was on your face?
It was ticklish, a slightly itchy sensation. And I had to tighten up my groin muscles because I also felt incredibly relaxed. But that faded, and I answered the interviewer's questions.
Do you have any lingering or lasting effects from this experience?
I guess I feel a little changed after meeting a different species, but I mean, nothing physically.
Another person who interacted with Bo is Fanny Spindlemeyer, who was afraid for her life and ended up encountering the Blur. Tell me about your experience with Bo, Miss Spindlemeyer.
My husband at the time, he's now no longer with us, thankfully, was threatened to kill me after I witnessed him cursing at bald eagles. It was so terrifying. I'll never forget the words he screamed at them. Oh, those poor birds. None of my friends believed me, so I didn't know where else to go. I went to the local TV station and asked for help. Joe
Takashi?
Uh-huh. Joe sat me down and I told him what was happening. He then told me about Bo and prepared me for the experience. I was shocked at first, but it was like a religious experience. Bo immediately made me feel at peace and encouraged me to be brave and to tell the truth. He also prepped me for what it would feel like when he covered my face. He told me how I would feel and that I might pee on myself. I didn't believe that part until Joe offered me a diaper. And then things became serious and I sat down to tell my story. It was the most incredible moment of my life. I'll never forget the feeling on my face and on my body. He gave me the confidence to help those birds and alert people about a dangerous person. I'll never forget that experience and I'll always be grateful.
Does Bo keep in touch with you?
Oh, yes. He checks on me often and even sends virtual Christmas cards. He touched me in a way that no man has.
On the lighter side of things, the Blur also has done some late-night television.
In the 1980s, some of the more edgy talk shows reached out. I thought it was a good change and a natural evolution of my work. I could both protect any innocent viewers and cooperate with fun, creative comedy people. It has reached arguably my favorite form in the unnecessary censorship segments.
Speaking of censorship, there are some that think your ability to blur the truth is an unchecked power to disguise. What do you say to them?
That is the most crucial issue I agonize over. I have this singular ability that no one else has. How do I use it to help those in need against their oppressors, aggressors, or the innocent, while still allowing for expansive and detailed expression and communication? Joe and I would discuss this often as I never wanted to be complacent or too certain. I took it in a case-by-case basis and made a decision. I'm not sure every choice was the best, but I did the best I could. No one is above criticism.
Bokashi has secretly lived in a quiet, gated community for decades. His neighbors are finding out today who lives in that house.
You know, we always wondered who lived there. We saw a cleaning crew come out a few times, but we never saw anybody else. That's really nice that it helps so many people.
I mean, what a waste. I mean, such a big house, for a little creature. I mean, all those years living in secret, what's it hiding in there?
Do you feel underappreciated working in secrecy? Do you feel like you're making a difference?
I focused on doing what was right for the people involved, but admittedly, it's more convenient to be out in the open now. I hope I've made a difference. I know that censorship is a gray topic, but I've received many grateful and thankful letters, phone calls, and emails.
Are you friends with the Black Box Censor? Do you guys hang out? I mean, it preceded you, so are you guys related? Do you alter the voices too?
No. The audio censor bleep is just a tone inserted into the audio track, similar to the black bar sensor for visuals. And no, we don't hang out. That was a joke. That old technique is an elementary video edit.
How much longer will you keep working?
I'll keep working until there are no more opportunities. I predict that I won't be needed soon because of the emergence of deep fakes and AI. I'm content with my legacy, but I do worry about this new technology.
What other avenues of life would you like to explore now that retirement is looming?
I've been thinking of exploring light therapy. It's a little presumptuous, but maybe there's a way I can contribute. My ability to manipulate light might potentially be of use to people.
One last thing, if you wouldn't mind the self-indulgent question, but why did you choose me for your first interview?
It seemed your career needed some help. And a friendly bit of advice? Too many pens.
Right. All right. Who's making that mother... Good save, Bo. Thanks. I pissed myself. Please, Bo, stop. Seriously, please stop making that mother trucking, fudging, ticking sound.